Blessings, sister. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I am amazing. Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, apologies for being a little late, but time is an illusion, right?
Exactly. I love that. So, this is actually a series I'm doing for my channel, my YouTube channel. It's called God's Talk. So, it's really people who are living as a God, living in their higher self, living in their power. Yeah. I want to ask you firstly, what are your intentions for 2021?
For 2021? Okay. Well, I definitely want to expand my network. I'm expanding my network and connecting with sisters around the world, regardless of what timeline is going on in regards to travel or limitations. I really am just working on expanding my network. Pretty much my goals for 2021. I'm just expanding what I already have and fine tuning it and offering ways to go deeper with women than before. So before it was more surface level, and now my guides, my ancestors are like, no, take them deeper. Like take them really deep. They're ready for that. So yeah, that's pretty much my intention.
Yeah, I feel you there on the expansion because I want to continue what I'm doing and also exploring new aspects of myself and expanding those aspects. But I also want to expand what I'm doing now and yeah, go to new levels of my purpose, go to new levels of my destiny, really embodying it and living it. Yeah, great influence, great impact. So I feel you there, definitely. So we first met at your breathwork ceremony, which was so powerful. I want to know, I embodied, the feminine energy, and I can see it in the way I speak, just in so many ways. So I want to ask you, like, how has, this feminine energy, how has it changed your life?
I think the truth is that we started out feminine, right? So I don't think it's the feminine energy that changed my life per se, because I've always been feminine. And I've always been like, I mean, even when I was a kid, I was a tomboy, but I still was a girl. I was always feminine. I was always female. So I don't think that I would say that really changed my life. Like, there certainly are codes of wisdom in our that lay dormant in our womb. You know, our womb is this ancient spaceship that has been forgotten on, some planet. And when we tap deeper into who we are, into our divine essence, our divinity, that's when we can kind of re-engineer and start that old ancient technology or craft back up so that we can, travel across time and space pretty much. I mean, that is basically the womb for me, is ancient technology. It's like a spaceship. It can take us anywhere we want to go, but it is dormant most of the time. So I think that when I started taking myself seriously, when I started taking my gifts seriously, when I started utilizing my intuition and listening to myself more, that's what changed my life. Is when I started taking my gifts and my divinity more seriously.
Right. Okay, so for me, when I had my awakening in 2018, and I was on a journey of really finding myself and my gifts and my talents, which led me to where I'm here today. In addition to that, when I intentionally say, okay, I want to come out of the masculine dominantly because the feminine energy feels like home to me, and this is where I should be. So when I intentionally went on that journey, my life really changed. I began to realize truly who I am, what I'm here to do on a new level. And wow, it removed every toxic person from my life, and it gave me the confidence to remove people, and it gave me the confidence to say to spot toxicity from far away. and just knowing what I deserve, knowing who I am, and knowing what I have to give and how, needed this energy is, my energy is, It showed me that.
Yes.
New levels. So how do you maintain really being your divinity, being confident, not caring what others think of you, and doing what you came here to do? How do you keep on that journey? How have you started that journey? And how do you continue being there where you are?
Well, honestly, I think we all come into these different portals, right? When we're born, our birthdays and the times, all those alignment, what our suns, moons, rising signs are, those are portals that we all are very uniquely activating. And so for me, being an Aquarius sun and moon, I have always been able to detach myself from other people's opinions or whatever. I've never cared. I mean, I remember like when I was a kid, I'd watch like, teen movies, and there would always be some mean girl that would be putting, the main character down. And I would always be so feisty, like on the other side of the screen, like, don't let her talk to you like that. Like, she knows nothing. Like, why are you listening to them, So I've always been like that. I will say that I do help a lot of women find their voice and find their power. And as far as how, I don't know. I think it's just a matter of self-love. I think that's what it comes down to. It's self-love. Really, truly being able to love yourself and not caring what other people think comes naturally after. So it comes from doing work on yourself and constantly doing the work to look at yourself, and wherever you're at, however flawed as we all are, being able to love yourself unconditionally is what it is. That's how I've been able to stay on my path and not care what people think about me. I guess that's how I help other women as well, to the core, to the core point.
Self-love is so important for anything you want to do. And once you have the self-love, then you can have the confidence because you love yourself, you believe in yourself, you work on yourself. So you begin to discover what you have to offer. You begin to discover your gifts, your talents, your unique past experiences that can be of benefit to the world. You begin to see how uniquely you are designed and how uniquely were created for specific things that this world need.
Yes.
And that brings about a self-love. It brings about confidence. And, when you constantly are seeing reminders of where you're needed, where you're wanted, what you have to do, and then you have a passion behind it, it's then transformed into your purpose. And then you can begin to experience life in a different way because you're now living life in service to humanity. Yeah. And when you live in service, you begin to align yourself with God. And when you're aligned with God, because you're in your purpose and because you're in service, every day you look forward to waking up, and your life becomes a gift. And you feel yourself as a gift, and you're happy to share yourself as a gift. That's why I love this so much. It's so transformative, and it's like it literally can change your life. 180, you could do a 180. That's why I love it so much. And I love teaching it. I love showing it in my life. In my life, being an example of it. And what I speak, I must live. So you're seeing it in my life, and then I'm teaching it.
Right.
Oh, and another thing, when we were talking about what has the feminine energy done, in my life and in our lives, it's given me a calling to express myself through music. I never saw myself as a singer. And it's just telling me, like, you could freaking sing. And I'm like, what? I could sing? And it's like, yeah, you can sing. And it's like, don't force it. Just let it come naturally. And I can attest to that because in the past few months, when I started this journey, feminine journey, like I kept meeting musicians. All my friends, everybody I would meet, they would say, "Yeah, I'm a musician," and I was like, "What? What?" So everything just added up to this is what I wanted to do. So I'm like exploring different ways of like, okay, how do I really express myself that is like truly from my heart, that is what is just me, and not what I think people want to hear, but just what I want to express. So I'm on that journey now. On I could say the feminine energy did that for me also.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So thank you so much, honey.
Yes, of course.
So like how I had that revelation of like, and where I am not no way in my past I was ever into music. I just love music as a whole for me and to enjoy it, but to actually produce it, I never saw myself there. So it like opened my eyes there. So I was wondering if you had any like revelations like that, because that's like huge for me, and it's kind of like I see it as like a new journey and a new door. I feel that intuitively.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. Um, what would you say? What would you say is the importance of living in your purpose, living as your higher self, being of service?
Well, of course, I mean, the importance is it is our purpose. So that's the importance, is like, the purpose of our existence in this simulation, as far as incarnating here on Earth and walking this realm and living in this simulation. The point is the point. The point is the purpose. So that's the importance. Is if you don't know your purpose, then you would likely not have any important matter. There will be no reason to live, to do anything, or at least try. So that's how important it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we use astrology to find our purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Or
so yeah, I've never been into astrology. I always want to just clarify, I'm a professional astrologer. I've been studying diligently astrology for the last 5 years now. Many web courses, retreats, a lot of tech and hours, thousands of hours. So I'm a professional astrologer. I'm not just a hobbyist, but I just want to clarify that.
That's awesome.
And as far as using astrology to find our purpose, it definitely has to do with a few different portals in our chart. I always like to look at the highest alignment. I always like to look at the 10th house. I like to look at the 11th house, and I like to look at the 5th house, which will dictate, it'll tell you what your passions or talents are, what you're good at. It'll tell you what you'll be known for, what legacy you'll likely leave behind, or at least what you came here to leave behind. And the legacy of the 10th house isn't always fulfilled, because it usually happens around the middle part of your life is when it comes into full fruition. And if people are lost or they're not embodying their purpose, they'll usually leave that life. They'll usually pass early on because they're not on the path that their soul contracted to. So they don't always realize that legacy. They don't always realize that high alignment. But you can certainly start to look there. Or of course, there are a lot of resources online for people who are wanting to just start to begin to understand their own chart. It is quite complex. It's very detailed. It's never ending. It's a never ending story as far as astrology goes, but you can certainly start with looking at your 5th house to find any kind of talent or skills, looking at the ruler of the 5th house, because all of the signs have rulers, and then the 10th house would be that ultimate alignment. And it's very important that you know your exact time of birth, not what your mom remembers, but actually finding for sure what the time of your birth is, because otherwise there will be something off, and you don't want to misguide yourself. And it's very important for me when I'm doing readings for people that I know their exact time of birth. I do birth time rectification, which is actually quite time consuming, but it's worth it. If you were born in the island, let's say, and no one knows for sure, no one actually wrote down the time you were born. If it's not on your birth certificate, in the States, they do have it recorded on our birth certificate, but they hide it from us. So if you try to order your birth certificate, most likely they will just send you a limited replica of your birth certificate totally omitting the birth time. So you have to know how to order that. I just walked through with a beautiful soul client yesterday. I walked through it with her so that she could order hers. But it is something that is being hidden from us because it is our blueprint. It's our soul's map to discover who we are or to remember who we are, to know ourselves. And if we don't know ourselves, then we can stay lost in simulation, no? So it is something that is really unfortunate that they hide from the Western world. In the Eastern world, they're very on top of recording the baby's time of birth. They use astrology in China, in Japan, in India. You know, they use it not just for business, but for marriage, for relationships, for helping that child get into the right discipline so they can start early and they know what their skills and talents are. And it's really revered and honored in the Eastern world. But in the Western world, it's just very much still an illusion. It's very mystical and impure, and they keep that information hidden from us. So, but that is the importance, and that's how you can find your purpose and at least start to begin to decode your blueprint, your map. And of course, there are astrologers. There's me, if you resonate with me, but I think it's really important that you find an astrologer that you resonate with, because it doesn't matter if an astrologer has all the followers on YouTube and, they're world renowned, internationally known, because I've had clients come to me after seeing these types of astrologers that were really good, and they still felt lost, like that person did not connect with their soul in that way. So it's really important that you find an astrologer that you resonate with if you guys are wanting to go beyond kind of just finding your own way, if you want to be sure, or if you don't want to really waste any more time guessing, then definitely find an astrologer. Why not help honor yourself and honor the people who do what they do best? So yes, that is all of the detailed answers for your question.
How do you manifest?
How do I manifest? Well, that is a loaded question. I do a lot of things. I think the most important thing that I do to prepare myself for manifestation is honestly just I stay at my altar. I stay connected with my high self, my spiritual team, my ancestors. And I stay in a space of giving, but not giving too much, and then just for my blessings to come in, allowing myself to receive. But yeah, I think as far as preparing for manifestation, there's so many ways to manifest, but you can manifest with art. You can manifest with breath work and setting intentions. You can manifest with crystals. You can manifest by writing petitions. You can manifest with sigils. You can manifest with root work. You can manifest with so many ways. But I think the most important thing for me is making sure that I'm balanced and I'm aligned with that vibration of which I will need in order to manifest something. And that comes from staying at my altar, staying prayed up, staying aligned, completely looking at myself and from every angle that I can, and staying in a place of optimism, love for myself, honoring of myself and my power, and not trying to force anything, knowing that what is best for me will come, and then not being afraid to ask for what I want, my wildest dreams. But yeah, staying aligned and staying keeping that connection super strong with spirit, with my high self, through my womb space, with my ancestors, with my spiritual team, my star family. That's how I manifest.
Okay. So how does that look like in a day in your life?
A day in my life. Well, when I wake up, I usually just take my time because I work for myself. I think beauty sleep is the most important thing for me, just to be rested so that I can do whatever I'm being asked to do by spirit, by the universe, by my soul clients, my soul family, my tribe. Energetically, I just have to be right. So I do take my time getting up. I always will make tea or a cup of coffee. I'll have my breakfast always first, and then I will go into either yoga or breath work. I'm certified in yoga as well, but I don't really do that as much as far as classes or privates. I just do that in retreats and then for my own well-being, for my personal practice. Then I'll usually pull some cards once in the morning, and then in the evening I will go back to my altar. I will sit with Hape sometimes, or I'll just stretch again my body before I'm getting ready to go to bed. Just setting my intentions. Sometimes, depending on the alignment astrologically, I will create art, or I will write a petition, or I will, it just depends on what I'm feeling I really want to call in. Sometimes I'll put a lot more energy into it, using herbs or using crystals or using oils, or candle magic. It just depends on what I want. But on a daily basis, I just don't really use much but my energy. I just devote myself, to my life. That's what I do. I devote myself to my life. First, and my mission, and that's it. So I go to the altar in the morning and at night, every day. And I see what messages come up for me, and I take note of them, but I'm not attached to the outcome. And then I just, I get other things done, and I'm working on different projects. I have a program coming up for psychic development. I'm working on developing an oracle deck. So I just, during the rest of the day, I just stay in that kind of flow. I like to listen to music a lot. But yeah, mostly I'm just creating. That's all I do pretty much every day.
So for me, when I wake up, before I open my eyes, I always try to feel gratitude within my entire body and just try to find the things I'm grateful for. And I would first focus on myself, just my presence of being on earth and just being able to wake up and experience a new day. Then I would see my vision. I would see myself experiencing my vision. What would it be like if I was waking up in my vision this morning? Who would be around me? What would be the sounds? And after I do that, I would then go to my planner. And in my planner, I have my vision board, my vision, pictures of my vision. I have a morning prayer. And then I have my affirmations and my goals. So in this planner, I created it where you can have your yearly goals. You break it down to monthly goals. And then I have my weekly goals. So I'm in my planner looking at those goals, writing down my weekly goals, my affirmations. What are my intentions for today? How do I get closer to my goals today? What am I grateful for today? And writing that down. And then I have these affirmations that I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind with. And I'm like writing those over and over and over and over and over and over and over every morning, every day. And at the end of the month, like I should have a page filled with just these affirmations that I'm writing over. And it should just have notes everywhere. So I don't have it here, but that's how it was for January.
Yeah.
I use that. Yes. Another thing I do is like manifesting with the full moon and the new moon. And I had this experience recently. It's kind of it was like 3 a.m. Sometimes I can't sleep and I don't force myself to sleep when I can't sleep because I'm like, okay, maybe God wants to talk to me, maybe it's time for some downloads, I'm excited. And I would just stay out when my window was open and I was writing or something like that. And then I heard someone call my name. And it was like, it sounded like they didn't say it once, so it sounded like an echo. So it sounded like kind of like a vibration, so it was like an echo. And my heart started to raise. I'm like, oh my God, who's that? Nobody's up right now. And it sounded like a male voice, right? And I was like, oh my God, just relax, just relax. And it was like, it sounded like they didn't say it once, so it sounded like an echo. So it sounded like kind of like a vibration, so it was like an echo. And then my heart started to raise. I'm like, oh my God, who's that? Nobody's up right now. And it sounded like a male voice, right? And I was like, oh my God, just relax, just relax, relax, relax. My body started to feel weird. And something said turn around. When I turned around and I looked up, I see the moon facing like in my room. I was like, the moon wasn't there all the time. What's going on? And then I just was lying down in it, and on my bed, I'm lying down, and then it's like I start to get like hearing this voice, like somebody's talking to me, and I'm just like, what the hell? So I love the moon. So I do a lot of rituals with the moon. When it's full moon, I'm excited, I'm dancing, I'm setting intentions and putting new moon also. So
that's great. That's all very important. Yes.
Yes. So one more question.
Okay.
Is that, do you have any advice for anyone that is going through a low point right now? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, I'm very much disciplined in regard to my spiritual practice and my journey. And so I'm very much kind of like, you need to be strong. You need to find your strength. No one, like, it doesn't matter what people tell you. Like, it doesn't matter how beautiful people tell you are, or how smart, or how powerful, or whatever. If you don't believe that, or if you're not willing to do what's necessary to bring change into your life, if you continue to do what you've been doing, you will always get what you've always gotten. So I don't know. I think that, like, we all go through shit. We all go through ups and downs. That's just what it is in this incarnation, in this human simulation. But I think that it's really, we have to learn how to take responsibility for our lives. And that is what sovereignty means. So I would say, if you're going through a low point, be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, but do take an honest look at yourself and what you've been doing and try and honestly, just truthfully find how you have created this or assisted in this reality coming into your life. How has this actually been partially responsible, by you? taking responsibility for things that you maybe haven't been doing that you know you should be doing, or taking your spirituality or your health seriously, making time for yourself and the things that you love to do rather than just working mundane jobs for money. Whatever. If you're going through a breakup and heartbreak, which is really heavy, it's heavy, heavy energy to move. If you've attached yourself to someone that you always knew was not good for you, you know, you have to take responsibility for these things, and be honest about how you played a part in manifesting this for yourself so that you can then make a sovereign choice to either move forward and do something different and start looking to your body or your womb space or your intuition or your high self or your ancestors calling your name. Like, you can make that decision or you cannot. But I think if anyone's going through a hard point, they really just have to like be strong and pick themselves up. Like Aaliyah has a song, you know, dust yourself off and try again. And it's just like, that's what it is. Like, you can make a decision to live in sovereignty, or you can make a decision to be a victim and not go through the fire. It's not easy to be sovereign because once you know more things, you have to make sovereign decisions. You have to stop buying and supporting these companies or buying at these stores. You have to stop using these chemicals. You have to invest in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to take the time to study the herbs. You have to learn, you know what I mean? There is work involved, but are you worth it? It comes down to self-love and self-value. How much do you value yourself? Are you priceless or are you cheap? You know, like, it really all has to do with your mentality, what you want, and then your ability to be self-aware and see how you may have been sabotaging yourself. So if you're going through a low point, it's really important to be strong. Not so strong that, you know, you don't let anyone in, but really strong in the love that you have for yourself. That's where that spiritual warrior archetype comes from. It's being strong enough to love unconditionally, being strong enough to be vulnerable, knowing that, yes, you may get hurt in the process of living life here on earth, but you are strong enough. You know that you will get through it. And so you do it anyway. You love anyway, right? You love yourself, and thus you're able to love other people. And thus you're able to make conscious decisions where you are putting yourself first and your well-being first, right? If people are in a hard time, you know, breathe deep breaths, look up breath work exercises. There are so many types of breath work, or, you know, find someone that can guide you, a facilitator that can work with you on a monthly basis, maybe just for like 1 month, and that whole package and journey in itself will help you really transmute, because what happens when we get in low places is that it's a low vibration, and we have to make that decision to pull ourselves up out of it or not. So no one can really do that for you. You have to honestly be able to look at yourself and say where you're at. You're telling yourself, oh, what the fuck, you know, I feel so bad about this, or no one loves me, or like whatever. And you make that choice. Or you choose to start to say, you know, that's not completely true. So-and-so just messaged me the other day and told me, you know, they were thinking about me. People do love me. People do support me. You know, so you have to make that conscious decision to pull yourself out of that vibration, or it will just suck you dry. But yeah, I think it really just comes down to sovereignty, and responsibility and self-awareness. But we are all strong enough to get through anything that is laid upon our path that comes into our reality, whether we manifested it or it was destiny. It was destined to happen. And if we weren't strong enough, then it wouldn't happen. We're not going to die. We are going to survive, and we will become stronger and wiser. Period.
Yeah. Our energy is so needed. It's so needed, like in cups.